Today, I would like to share an amazing story with you. I discovered recently a UK brand founded by a 90-year-old guy. 12 years later, he is a billionaire. His company is valued at £1.3 billion with revenue of £608 million and a profit £68 million. I mean, how many stories like this do you hear every day in the clothing business? Direct-to-consumer online brand? Because he has built it. He went from buying a domain name at £3 on GoDaddy because it sounded cool, and then drop shipping supplements for bodybuilders, and then he started selling clothing that he had done himself at home. I don't hear much of this nowadays. Besides, I'm in contact with thousands of founders like this every single day, and I encourage them to build their businesses by bootstrapping like this guy did. Online sales, no retail, no wholesale. Just find your audience, your niche, and go all in. I get it. Google, Meta, and others can easily evolve to digital monsters like making billions every second. But what about a simple fashion brand that wants to become a brand and wants to have an audience? Stay with me and I will give you a list of what should you do to develop a 1 billion brand in 10 years. So, is Ben Francis a brilliant British entrepreneur or a scam? Before we go into this topic, I have a favor to ask you. Only 10% of people who watch my videos subscribe to my channel. So I have a request for you. If you want me to do those videos, post more videos like this, I really need a signal from you. Show some love and subscribe to my channel so I see who is interested and I can produce better content that relates to your fashion brand. Here's the deal. You follow us and we produce the content that you want to watch. So how a 19-year-old can have a vision and create a business that was billions. Here's the story. Ben is 17 years old and all he wants is six-pack body. As a teenager, he wants his body to make him feel confident about himself. So he goes to the gym for the only one motivation to make this body become great. Then he started several businesses in the gym space because he loved the space passionately and he failed several times. The idea of starting Gymshark was simple. Have a transactional website where people can buy something related to gym. So we are in 2012 and he's 19 years old. He found a domain name at £3 on GoDaddy and started selling the supplement on a dropship model. They were making around £2 per sale in profits and they were selling a lot. Their first order was 3 months after the website was on. Then he and his co-founder Lewis attended a professional event in the bodybuilding space. And this is where they had this aha moment to have clothes that fit skinny people like them who want to become bodybuilders. Here comes my lesson number 1. Find your niche, love it, be patient about it, and offer people the products that they are looking for. As they started selling clothes, they were at approximately 200 or 400 pounds in sales per day. This maybe seems a lot for you, but if you have the right systems in place, it is kind of cool and it gives you at least 10k a month in revenue from your website. So what they did to get to this level is YouTube. YouTube influencers in their niche, bodybuilders who were wearing their clothes and inspiring their audiences to discover this new brand. So it was small for two co-founders. They still needed to have their 9-to-5 jobs. Ben worked in a pizza restaurant while he was developing his clothing brand. Then there was a discovery stage where they realized how they could consistently create orders, and it was accidentally discovered. So they went to an event in 2013 where they rented a booth. It was Body Power, Europe's largest bodybuilding exposition, where they presented their new collection. They were sold out at the event, but then when they come back and turn on their website, immediately in the next 30 minutes, they have generated 30,000 pounds in 30 minutes. Amazing results. So here is lesson number 2. Test until you find what works. Don't stay on your random or low orders. Continue doing by what you do. Just continue to connect to your audience in different ways to find what works and repeat it.
To get a business from 0 to 10 million, you essentially have to be very, very dictatorial. You tell people what you want. People will tell you this isn't going to work. You ignore comments, you ignore feedback, and you do what the hell you want, and you force your business into success. This is my experience, right? I'm sure there are other people that have had different experiences, but that was my personal experience. You take high level of risk. There's no time for discussion. Generally, what you're trying to do hasn't been done before. There's no data to back up what you're thinking. You need to grow quick. And like, listen, in that period, there were several times that we risked everything we had to get to that next level. And oftentimes the risks make no sense because, again, and granted the numbers are smaller, right? But it's a case of, we're doing 250,000 in revenue. Our ambition one day is to do 4 million in revenue. You need to risk the entire house on hopefully getting to 1 million. So we did one event, it did well. And what you normally do in a larger business is you do an event, it does well, you sit there, you analyze the data, you understand what the ROI would be if you were to do 5 more. It's like, no, like in the early days, in that 1 to 10, that purely entrepreneurial phase, that gut instinct phase, is you have no time to do any of those. So we did our first event, it went well. We then signed up to loads of events. And then we went from just doing Birmingham to Birmingham, Germany, Australia, 2 in the US. And there was a point, I think it was about 2 years after that, where we'd basically managed to get about £1 million in the bank. And like, being in the West Midlands and having a company with £1 million in the banks, that I'd never heard of anything like it. It was the most insane thing ever. We were in our early 20s. And at that point, you've sort of got something to lose. I'm like, oh, well, like, if we just gave up now and we just split the money, like, mum and dad's mortgage is paid, I could live happily. Maybe not now, but it feels like you could live happily ever after. And then we bet the entire house on going again, on stock, on events, and you do that again and again and again. And this is what I mean. So from 0 to 10, you essentially do what the hell you want. 10 to 50 is that bit where you have an understanding of the fact that you've actually got something to lose. Because for me, between 1 and 10, there was nothing to lose. 10 to 50 in revenue, there was certainly something to lose. But you're filled with this adrenaline, this excitement, and this momentum that you just do it and you just go. And at that point, you're really starting to hire people. So the whole thing of ignoring what everyone says, it just starts to go away.
Next, what happened is, and this is where it completely puts them apart from a random fashion designer or an artist, is that they took risks. So what they did, because the event was successful and they collected lots of sales online after the event, they decided to put all their money, even the money they didn't earn yet, back into business and booked many events for the whole year ahead. You see, money was not available yet, but because they believe in it so much and because it was their way to build a brand, they put their future gains to book many events ahead. This is something I don't see usually in practice, to be honest, because most people will just be cautious about their money and they will never take those risks to continue expand what works. Especially what I see, and sorry to say that again, you put your money in stock. Hey, come on, how can you sell all those stock if you don't have a channel to sell? So money shouldn't go to stock. Money should go to the sales channel first, and then you figure out how to make your stock available for this channel, right? So lesson number 3, take risks and continue to do what works. When I say take risks, it's not to buy stock without any idea how you're going to sell it. This is risky. But if you have a clear idea of how to sell it, it worked before, you just need to invest more to continue doing what works. And for that, you need a stock. And this is where the risk becomes calculated and acceptable. Acceptable because selling through this channel that you discover that works for you is a proven system. But buying a stock without any system in place to make sales is danger. Remember, your friends are not your customers. They will not buy forever. If you don't have access to your customer, build this knowledge first. Don't invent into stock. So lesson number 4, invest in stock only when you know who is your customer and how it works exactly to reach out to them. If you have done it once, you can do it a second time. So lesson number 5, up-level your game. Don't stay where you are. What really made Ben successful is that he was always eager to invest his money into who, W-H-O, capital letters, who. And he found people who could really help him grow. For this, you need, first of all, to accept that you don't know what you don't know, accept advice and help, and be coachable.
I think everyone should do this, whatever field of work they're in or whatever, but particularly as an entrepreneur, because I feel like as an entrepreneur, everything's just amplified, right? Your wins are bigger, your losses are larger again, your weaknesses are exposed because you are exposed to the business and the world in many respects. But what you need to do is you need to write down like your character traits. The best example would be, and this is one that I'm currently working on, right, is people would be like, I don't know, I'm messy, or I'm always like, oh, I'm always late, I'm messy, what am I like? And the conversation for me is a bit like, okay, you're messy and you're always late, but those things should be up for grabs, right? You should be able to look at those things and go, don't roll your eyes and say, that's just me, because it's not, or it doesn't have to be. Because if I'd have done that in the early days, I'd have gone, I'm introverted, shy, not good in front of cameras, terrible at public speaking, and I'm not good at people management. But I didn't want to identify with those things. I didn't want to say Ben is that, because I didn't want to be that. And I think everyone, if you can somehow, and I think I was lucky because I was surrounded by great people, right? So it's definitely easier said than done. But if you can try and not identify with those things, those parts of yourself that aren't maybe ideal, and you can, again, look at them in a logical manner, as you would any other problem in life, and try and solve them. So I'm not good at people management, fine. Who's the best person I know that is? I'm going to go and chat to them. I'm going to pick their brains. Or even better, I'm just going to watch them. Because some people learn from just watching. Some people learn just by watching. And so Steve, for example, who's the CEO at Gymshark previously, we didn't have that many, Steve, teach me how to people manage. Steve, teach me how to public speak. Like, we didn't really do that. But by him doing it, I just watched him and I understood the traits or the things that he would do that helped him be great at that. And then I just basically learned them and tried them and tried them and tried them, and eventually got reasonably good at doing those things.
Ben realized that changing his way of thinking was essential to grow the brand. He accepts to step back, hire a CEO, and learn from him how to grow a business. Of course, all this is possible because the brand was growing and he could hire. But how you, as a small designer, can do it? Well, there are several options. One, find a partner, a person who can bring to the table the CEO role, structure, system, finances, and recruiting. Or find a mentor who can help you grow and see your business differently. Not as a passion, but rather as a solution to make money and grow. It's really about the way how you think about your business. If you think you lack money and you are stuck, you will be. If you want to be creative and find solutions to growing your business, you need to think like a winner and ask yourself, what can I do today to grow my business? Who can I attract to my business to help me grow, right? So it's always about who. So to conclude this video, here are my 5 takeaways from Ben's extraordinary success. Find your niche, test until you find what works, take risks, and continue to do what works. Invest into stock only when you know who's your customer, and uplevel your game. Don't stay where you are. Find your who. If you like this video, I totally recommend watching my next one. What shift you should do to succeed in the fashion business. I will meet you there.